Sexual orientation. What is sexual orientation? Sexual orientation describes a pattern of emotional, romantic, and/or sexual attractions to men, women, both genders, neither genders, or another gender.
There are few issues as hotly contested and as poorly understood as the question of what makes a person gay or straight. It's a political question, a social question, a religious question, but it's also a science question, one that might someday have an actual provable answer. The handful of scientists who work in this underfunded and politically charged field will tell you that answer is a long way off. But as we reported last spring, their efforts are already yielding tantalizing clues. One focus of their research is twins. These bedrooms belong to twins who are 9 years old. One room is all camouflage, airplanes, and military toys. The other, well, see for yourself. A pastel canopy, stuffed animals, white horses. Not all that surprising for boy-girl twins. Except these twins
What's your base code?
are Jared and Adam.
I have the Marines parking only. And
When I came for a visit, Jared was eager to show me his G.I. Joe collection.
I have ones that say like Marine and SWAT, and then that's where I keep all the guns for them.
Adam, on the other hand,
This is one of my dolls.
yeah, that is
Brat's baby. This is made by the company that made this and this.
I hate to interrupt you, but I just noticed you have nail polish on with stars
And diamonds.
and diamonds. I have to ask you a question. Did you go to school like that today?
I just showed them my nails and they were like, why did you do that? I was like,
Adam's behavior is called childhood gender nonconformity, meaning a child whose interests and behaviors are more typical of the opposite sex. Research shows that kids with extreme gender nonconformity usually grow up to be gay. Danielle is Adam and Jared's mom. How early on did you notice this difference?
About 18 months, he was really into asking for a Barbie. He wanted a Barbie.
At 18 months?
At 18 months.
And what about Jared? What was he asking at 18 months?
Fire trucks.
Not that much has changed. Jared's favorite game now is Battlefield 2 Special Forces. What's your favorite game?
It's called Neopets, the Darkest Fairy.
If you were going to tell a stranger what you were like, what would you say?
I'm a kid who likes G.I. Joes and games and TV. I would say like a girl.
You would say, I'm like a girl? That's what you would say? Why do you think that is?
What causes sexual orientation?
Some people believe that sexual orientation is innate and fixed. However, sexual orientation develops across a person's lifetime. To date, there are no replicated scientific studies supporting any specific biological etiology, meaning cause, for homosexuality. Similarly, no specific psychosocial or life circumstances or family dynamic cause for homosexuality has been identified.
What about Don't Ask, Don't Tell? You think they're going to change it?
I hope so. You know, there's so many things. It's Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and then recently I know they're working on repealing the restrictions on blood donors from the gay community. It's just there's so many archaic things floating around in the government right now that are so misinformed and so wrong, and it's very confusing. It's very confusing for young people, especially, you know, 14-year-olds in high school who are getting sent home because they have T-shirts that say gay on it, and as if gay is a curse word or somehow inappropriate. I just think that in terms of education, sexual education, political education, and social education in schools, I think it's important to be specific about civil rights and a person's worth. No person is worth any less than another human being based on their sexual orientation.
When people talk about homosexuality, they often ask, is it a choice?
I heard it is.
Hello, what's your name?
Christian.
Well, Christian, let's see what the latest science has to say.
Oh, that.
To help us, here are two gay people, George and Martha. Before we can answer, is it a choice, we must first determine what it means to be gay. How do you know you're a homosexual?
The same way you know that you're straight.
Since the 19th century, many theories about homosexuality have been offered that are untestable and contradictory.
Male homosexuality is the result of an absent father and an overbearing mother. See ya.
Stand up straight, dear.
And the female homosexual has never recovered from her anger over not having the penis. She wishes to avenge her perceived castration by taking another female as her sexual object.
You're kidding me, right?
Well, I've always been told that homosexuality is unnatural.
Is it? In fact, homosexual relations are common in nature, including zebras, baboons, dolphins, sheep, buffalo, ducks, foxes, elephants, horses, gorillas, moose, house cats, pigs, mice, rabbits, swans, and lions, to name a few.
Well, okay, but we're not animals. Human beings have free will.
You don't just decide who to love.
Settle down there, Martha. Christian does have a point, but let's take a look at the most recent scientific evidence.
That they were changed. Maybe these programs don't work for everyone, but what's the harm?
How about the feelings of shame and guilt they instill and reinforce in their victims? Or the money, energy, and time they sap from people who have nothing wrong with them?
Says you.
Well, in point of fact, not just George says that, Christian. The American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association, the American Psychoanalytic Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the National Association of Social Workers have all stated that homosexuality should not be treated as a mental disorder. As they study sexual orientation, scientists are currently looking at three main areas: genes, hormones, and birth order. Of course, most of these studies focus only on male sexuality. Sorry, Martha.
What a shock.
Let's first look at studies of identical twins.
Hi.
When one identical twin is a gay man, the other twin is gay up to 70% of the time, far higher than would occur if genes played no role. In fact, these studies show that genes play a greater role in determining sexual orientation than they do in whether or not you're right or left-handed. And we don't punish the left-handed. Well, not anymore.
Let's get it!
Scientists have recently noticed a striking statistical phenomenon. Studies show that having older brothers increases the odds of a boy being homosexual.
Moms always baby the youngest, making them gay.
No, that's not it. When a woman is pregnant with a boy, scientists are realizing that her female body often sees the male fetus as a foreign object and begins to produce antibodies against it. The more boys a woman has, the more adept her body becomes at feminizing the fetus, which may explain why with every successive boy, the odds that he will be gay go up significantly.
All right, maybe you all accept it, but what about those people who started out gay and say they became straight by discovering God? What about ex-gay ministries?
Even so-called ex-gay ministries don't claim to change a person's inner sexual desires, just his or her sexual conduct.
We're still gay.
If these places really work, why don't they all use the same technique? Why does each ministry experiment its own way?
Well...
And why have so many members and leaders recanted earlier claims
disorder, and that they oppose attempts at reparative or conversion therapy, and that sexual orientation is not a choice and cannot be changed.
So that's it. I'm supposed to believe that it's not a choice just because all those doctors and scientists say so?
Or you could just ask us.
I do know this one girl named Heather who goes back and forth, but she's
Shut up.
The information in this educational cartoon is based upon studies that can be found in any university library, with the possible exception of the Bob Jones University in South Carolina.